Part 82. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 812. Wu Xiaoqan walked over and was very surprised when he saw the scene in front of him. Because, Luo Xingchen, actually sat on the ground, with tears in his eyes, as if he was very moved. What's going on? He knew that this was a true martial arts expert. Even the big black dog and senior turtle had to stay away from him. But now, this strong man can only be so good. The small mountain village is really too strong. He was more and more respectful to Senior Li. At this moment, Li Fan couldn't help but smile and said, "Long time no see, how are you doing lately?" Wu Xiaoqan said, "Senior Qi, everything is fine. With the help of Brother Long and others, the clan is now reunited. It's just that when Brother Long and the others went to find the senior, there was too much commotion. Now everyone is looking for Brother Long and the others. Now, people from the outside world have learned that we and Brother Long are all in the wilderness, and many people are coming to seize the opportunity. Senior, the one who comes here is not evil." Li Fan couldn't help being startled when he heard this. When Long Xuanhuan and the others found Luo Xingchen, did they alert the others? He instantly thought that this Luo Xingchen was carrying a treasure. Red dust jade. This kind of jade is rare and extremely rare in the world. For people in the world, if they get it, it means glory and wealth. Therefore, if the world knew that Luo Xingchen was brought to the village by Long Xuanhuan and others, he would definitely cause trouble. Thinking of this, Li Fan couldn't help but shake his head and said, "People in the world are greedy, but they don't know that some things are beyond their control. It would be fine if it was a red dust jade that had never been worn by anyone, but that piece of red dust jade already had an owner. It even drove Luo Xingchen crazy." For Li Fan, he didn't pay much attention to a piece of red dust jade. First, he has always been indifferent, and in his eyes, jewelry and jade are no better than a cup of tea or a glass of wine. Between the two, he is a cultivator of the first level of foundation building. What is the use of earthly things? After all, they are not spiritual stones or anything. However, once the red dust jade falls into the hands of the world, it will only harm people. What the world desires is a disaster to them. Li Fan turned his head, looked at the many disciples, and said, "You guys should go there. My own group of disciples are quite experienced in group fights. Therefore, Li Fan is not worried. Moreover, he is now at the first level of foundation building, so he is very confident. Ordinary mortals are not afraid anymore." When the many disciples who were working heard this, they immediately stopped. "As you command. It's been a while since I've been active, let's go. We need a fight." Many disciples have some expectations. Since entering the chaos ancestral realm, most of them know nothing about the outside world. Immediately, everyone bid farewell to Li Fan and left the village with Wu Xiaoqan. On the way, Wu Xiaoqan relayed the news brought by Han He to everyone. Coveting the martial arts method, Long Xuanhuan said calmly, "If you want to come, let them try." Soon, everyone arrived at Oath-Keeping Valley. "Master is here." There was a loud shout in front of the Oath-Keeping Valley, and immediately, all the Oath-Keeping clan members in the Oath-Keeping Valley came out to welcome him. Wu Zhenhai, Wu Mingshan, and others were in front. When they saw Long Xuanhuan, Qing Chen, and others, they immediately saluted. "Greetings to all my masters. Greetings to all my masters." They were extremely respectful. They already know that Qing Chen, Long Xuanhuan, and others are all brothers and disciples of that person in the small village, so they all call them master. Han He, who was following Wu Zhenhai and others, was suddenly shocked when he saw the group of young men and women in front of him. A mountain village fisherman, and so many brothers. He was a little shocked. A fisherman from a mountain village can already surpass the martial arts pavilion. His senior brothers, are they all strong in martial arts? Moreover, each of these young people is extraordinary. The young man holding a pot of grass clearly contained powerful energy. The girl in the purple skirt carrying the drawing board has bright eyes and an air of autumn water, which is otherworldly. The woman in white with the piano on her back is a saintly woman with an extraordinary temperament, dignified beauty, and the ability to crush all great forces. The pavilion master guessed it right, the mountain village fisherman represents a big force. And now, is this force finally coming out of the dead man's land? He couldn't help but look forward to it. At this moment, Qing Chen stepped forward and said, "Everyone, please get up. No need to be polite. These are all our senior sisters and brothers." He introduced Nanfan and others. Wu Zhenhai and others became more respectful and saluted one by one. "Masters, this is Mr. Han He from Zhenshi Pavilion. It is he who brought us the news. In addition, there are many sophisticated weapons." Wu Zhenhai introduced. "Tisk, it turns out it's you." Wu Dade stepped forward with a look of expectation on his face and said, "How about it, your Zhenshi Pavilion still accepts the elixir. Don't worry, the minimum guarantee is 7 stars. Since the last time, the dead dog's magical power was actually auctioned and was chased and scrambled by the world, Wu Dade felt energetic. When Han He heard this, his face turned green. Damn it, this fat man lacked great virtue and still wanted to trick them. He couldn't help but glance at the big black dog next to Wu Dade, with the corners of his mouth twitching, and said, "Thank you, we won't be using that elixir." He changed the subject and said, "Everyone, now Chen Clan, Zhen Holy Land and other forces have invaded the territory with their armies, and they have reached the Dead Wasteland. Among the enemies, there are countless masters from the 5th realm, and even no less than 10 masters from the 6th realm." Han suggested that 3 lines of defense be immediately deployed. Before coming here, in order to help the Oath Keepers, their Zhenshi Pavilion had specially studied tactics. After all, the Oath Keepers faced too many enemies this time. Wait a moment. At this time, Dugu Yuking suddenly stepped forward and said, "Please tell me clearly, how many masters from the 6 realms are here? If the number doesn't match, I'm afraid it won't be easy for us to handle." Han He couldn't help being startled when he heard this. These people are afraid of the masters of the 6 realms. He suddenly felt that he was finished. The pavilion master guessed that the forces behind the village fishermen and others were not simple. But, if even the masters of the 6 realms are afraid, it is enough to prove that this force in the dead man's wasteland may not even have masters of the 7th realm. Such a force, even if it can be ranked high in the Wuhuang world, but is not qualified to make their pavilion master such a good friend. A person with strength in the 6th or 7th realm is nothing in front of the Zhenshi Pavilion. Han He's heart almost froze, and he said bravely, "According to the intelligence, there are 10 of them apparently." He was a little worried. 10 masters of the 6th realm wouldn't scare these young people in front of him, right? However, after he finished speaking, Dugu Yuking became anxious and said, "Only 10. Han He. Talent." He was a little confused. "Yes, 10. Dugu Yuking said, "It's too late to explain." He turned around hurriedly, only to see 2 figures in front of him, already flying out. "Lu Rang, Qing Chen, you jumped the gun again." Immediately, Wu Dade, Long Zixuan and others rushed out in a hurry. "Hurry up, we won't get the points if we go late. A master of the 6 realms, I must have one." They all shouted. Dugu Yuking also hurriedly followed. "That's too much, wait for me." At the entrance of the Oath-Keeping Valley, Wu Zhenhai and others looked confused. What's going on? How, scrambling? Han He was also a little dumbfounded. This group of young people gave him the feeling that they were fighting over each other. Fighting for the masters of the 6 realms. What kind of rhythm is this? Co-author Duguyuking said just now that the number of people doesn't match up and it's difficult to deal with. Is he afraid that there won't be enough points? Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 813. Now, in the north, the dead are deserted. The army was spread out, and at a glance, there were tens of thousands of people. Almost all the elites from all major clans came. In the center of the front are the 2 major 7th realm forces, the ultimate Holy Land and the Chen clan. In addition, almost all the forces from the 6 realms from the major regions are here, such as the Xuanhuan Palace in the West Desert, the Beast Control Sect in the Eastern Wasteland, the War God Academy in the North, and the Beast Spirit Mountain. The strong ones have gathered, and many senior masters who have been missing from the martial arts world for a long time have jumped out to compete for this opportunity. We must get this opportunity. Wu Zun's method can reach the sky, and it belongs to the entire Wuhuang world. Haha, why do a group of tomb guards occupy Wu Zunfa? They have no qualifications. Many people spoke, staring at the dead man in front of them, filled with murderous intent. We, the Supreme Holy Land, have always passed down the martial arts, as it should be. It's up to us to take it. At the front, Gao Yishan, the Holy Lord of the Holy Land, spoke coldly towards the Chen clan. Beside him, the sect elders, Saint Baiji, etc. were all there. Chen Ao, the leader of the Chen clan, also responded coldly at this moment. Don't we, the Chen clan, have a martial arts heritage? Back then, the ancestor of our clan also received the favor of Wu Zunbang. Wu broke through the void, and went to the true ancestor realm. We haven't entered the Dead Desert yet, but the Chen clan and the Holy Land have already started fighting openly and secretly. In their eyes, they don't take the other 6 realm forces into consideration at all. Wu Zunfa is like something in a bag. The 2 sides suddenly became tense. It seems that today's battle cannot be fought without fighting. Chen clan, a master of the 6th realm, stepped forward and stared at the Holy Land. Just fight, who is afraid of whom? From the perfect Holy Land, a master of the 6th realm also flew out. Both forces are in the 7th realm, and there are many strong ones in the 6th realm. Seeing this, many surrounding forces immediately became concerned. I haven't gotten the Wu Zunfa yet. Is there already a war going on? Of course, right now. Why kill each other? In the depths of the dead wasteland, a clear voice suddenly came. Immediately afterwards, a terrifying phantom suddenly appeared in the sky. It was a grass, but at this moment, the grass shadow reached the sky, exuding a shocking aura, and slashed at the 2 powerful men of the 6th realm who were confronting each other in the air. Suddenly, the 2 powerful men in the 6th realm were startled. They each waved their hands to resist this shocking grass shadow. Boom! The 2 powerful men from the 6th realm took action, and the grass shadows disappeared. It's very extraordinary. What kind of grass is this? Could it be that there is a heaven-defying spiritual plant in the dead man's wasteland that has become a spirit? Zhao Zhen, a master of the 6th realm in the Holy Land, couldn't help but look solemn. Although the realm is not strong, this way is very simple. Chen Dezi, the strong man of the Chen clan, also spoke solemnly. Upon seeing this, the whole place fell silent for a moment, and everyone looked towards the dead man's wasteland. I saw a young man walking out of nowhere among the dead. The young man looked like a farmer, wearing coarse linen clothes and holding a pot of grass in his hand. That blow just now came from this young man. He looks rustic, like a farmer. Is this person a native of the dead man's wasteland? Don't underestimate him. Many people talked about it. Who are you? Why are you interfering in the affairs of my family? Chen Dezi asked coldly. If you dare to attack us, are you looking for death? Zhao Zhen also shouted angrily. But the young man smiled at this moment and said, "That, interfering with you, because, I'm just looking for death. Come on, you two losers, come and chop me." His words were so arrogant. Hearing this, everyone was startled. I have never seen such an arrogant person before. Zhao Zhen and Chen Dezi are definitely great masters who have been famous for a long time. Moreover, who comes from the Holy Land and the Chen clan, who dares to disrespect them? Now, he was actually shouted at by a young man. Very good, I will help you." Chen Dezi had a cold expression on his face, then he took a step forward, struck a palm in the air, and struck towards Lu Rang with a palm strike. Today's Lu Rang is only at the 4th level. Generally speaking, in front of a strong person with 6 aggregates, the 4 refiners are like ants. However, at this moment, Lu Rang's eyes were shining. He rose directly into the sky and faced the palm. In the 4th realm, you can control the air. He's looking for death. You are only in the 4th realm, but you dare to challenge the masters in the 6th realm? You are arrogant and ignorant. This boy is going to die. Many people asserted. However, at this moment, in the flower pot in Lu Rang's hand, a piece of grass evolved into endless principles. A dozen blades of grass were now intertwined together, weaving like a grass net, heading towards the palm to greet him. Boom! A palm of Liu Yun level blasted into the grass net. The green grass net was shattered. Lu Rang was hit by a palm and fell to the ground. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. Isn't this kid going to die? His grass is very strong. A strong man in the grass path? I have never seen him in the martial world. Many people were surprised. Lu Rang's face paled slightly, and a mouthful of blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Fighting across 2 realms is very difficult. In the 4th realm, only the acupuncture points on the limbs are deified. In the realm of 6 aggregates, the potential in the 5 internal organs is fully released, the body has reached a perfect state, and all powers, supernatural powers, etc. can be released. But Lu Rang was delighted. Because, at this moment, he clearly felt that, his cultivation level had increased. The 7 essentials of planting and breeding, grafting. It really works. Lu Rang raised his eyes and said excitedly. Come again. He rushed towards Zhao Zhen again. But at this moment, Zhao Zhen was a little confused. Because, just after he struck out with his palm, he actually felt that his cultivation level seemed to have been partially weakened and disappeared. What the hell is this? Shizi, do you really think you can provoke me? Zhao Zhen was angry and took action again. At this moment, Lu Rang not only provoked Zhao Zhen, but even slashed at Chen Dezi with a blade. He's going to deal with 2 at once. Cao Dao, looks a little weird, but if you want to die, I will make it happen for you. Chen Dezi also punched, using the power of shaking the void to kill him. However, the punch did not land on Lu Rang's side. In front of Chen Dezi, a monk appeared inexplicably. The monk held a broom and easily blocked the palm. Who are you? Chen Dezi was shocked. The monk smiled slightly and said, Donor, I am your father. When Chen Dezi heard this, he became furious. Damn monk, you are looking for death. He attacks Qing Chen like crazy. But Qing Chen said while fighting, Donor, I am really your father. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. I am not your father, which means I am your father. Come on, let me make you believe that I am your father. Qing Chen opened his mouth while resisting the enemy. But his skills were changing with his words. This is the debate Zen among the 11 Zen. Chen Dezi discovered that his attacks often encountered strange effects. Sometimes they were decomposed inexplicably, and sometimes they rebounded. Monk, I will kill you. Where did these two come from? Very weird. When did such a weird cultivator appear in the wilderness of the dead? At this moment, many armies were confused. Take action, kill them, and the night will be long and full of dreams. When Chen Ao saw this, he spoke in a deep voice. He is a hero, and he has already vaguely realized that these two young men who walked out of the dead man's wasteland are using their enemies to gain enlightenment. Very weird. Facing a genius, we must kill him all at once. Otherwise, it will be a disaster. At the same time, there was movement on the other side of the Holy Land. In the sky, several 5-level masters flew out in an instant, and they were about to surround and kill Qing Chen and Lu Rang. However, as soon as they took off, sword energy was already coming from the sky. Everyone, do you recognize this word? Above this group of masters, the sword energy moved vertically and horizontally, forming a square regular script character. Just 5 strokes, the sword is full of energy and cannot be controlled. Dare you? These 5 masters of the 5 realms were immediately furious and soared into the sky. Suddenly, the word formed by the sword energy slowly fell. The 5 masters of the 5 realms turned into rain of blood when they were swept by the sword energy. I have the Heian sword, and I have written it into the Huangting Sutra. Duguyuking smiled slightly. This is the regular script of the 5 books of Dayan given by the master, the sword of Heian. He smiled and said, "Too weak, come to the 6th realm. Not good night yet. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 814. The 5 masters of the 5 realms were supposed to assist Chen Dezi and others in killing the 2 evil young men. As a result, he was killed by the 3rd young man who suddenly appeared. This directly shocked everyone present. This person's cultivation level is obviously only in the 4th realm. Killing 4 realms and 5 realms is like chopping vegetables and melons. What kind of swordsmanship is that? It's too terrifying. Many people were shocked. There is indeed something strange in the dead man's desert, and the war has begun. At this time, Chen Ao spoke loudly. He has understood that these young people cannot be judged by common sense at all. They are all masters. Kill. Wu Zunfa is probably related to them. Get these people. The whole crowd charged. At the same time, many strong men from the 6th realm took action. Haha, it's such a shame to kill a genius. The leader of Tailing sect walked up Wanshan Mountain, carrying a black sword and slashing at Duguyuking. They are all geniuses, but today, they all have to die. Luo Tianling, the dean of the God of War Academy, took one step forward. However, before he took action, a black spot suddenly fell towards him in the air. What it is? Luo Tianling was startled, but then he saw clearly. That's a black spot, a person. To be precise, it's a person's butt. Big and fat? What the hell? Luo Tianling became angry and punched away. Bang! Wu Dade was directly blown away by him. However, Luo Tianling felt a numbness in his hands. He immediately looked at Wu Dade in shock. Was this fat man's butt made of divine gold? And immediately after Wu Dade, everyone in the small courtyard arrived. Nanfan was sitting on the treetops, the music of the piano was already playing, and a snow-white wolf was at her feet, seemingly waiting for an impact. Little girl, the little wolf next to you is suitable to be the guardian beast of our Beast Spirit Mountain. The mountain woman of Beast Spirit Mountain, carrying a walking stick, rushed directly towards Nanfan. The south organ sounds, but it is the sound of mountains and flowing water. The mountains are as tall as Mount Tai, and the ocean is like rivers. Zhongli walked slowly from the forest. It didn't look like he was fighting at all, but like he was visiting the woods. He used his steps to measure the distance between the plants and trees in the forest. Many masters were trying to kill him, but every step Zhang Li took seemed to be a killing trap. The plants and trees were alive, and they were all like magic weapons. They were linked to each other, and the strong ones shed blood. He is practicing grass and tree music. Lin Zhuzhen was surrounded by talismans. He stepped into the arena, as if he were entering a deserted land, but every step he took was accompanied by a terrifying aura. Even if a master from the 5 realms approached, he would find it difficult to resist. Xuanhuan sat obediently in the battlefield. There were piles of corpses in front of her, but her face was so calm, and her big eyes were full of aura, and she said, "Death is a constant theme in books, I read for you. Die before leaving the army." After she finished speaking, a master of the 5 realms who rushed towards her suddenly fell down before he could get close to her. The situation around Subakian was even more strange. She held a snow-white fox in her arms and carried a small medicine box on her back. All the people around who tried to kill her ended up killing each other, and not even the blood splashed on her skirt. That's a fantasy. The war has begun in full swing. Where did these people come from? Someone exclaimed. They are all geniuses, it's incredible. Why have I never heard of them before? Is it some terrifying hidden force? Use all your strength and never give them a chance to grow. Many masters of the 6th realm rushed out without reservation. At this moment, Long Xuanhuan also entered the field. He walked in the most leisurely manner, without even fighting or grabbing, and was extremely indifferent. The main thing is that he has already fought against Wu Zun's evil corpse. In that battle, he had seen all kinds of skills, and he had practiced the 6 skills of hunting the sky to an unprecedented degree. Enlightenment through war? Unless it's a being stronger than Wu Zun's evil corpse, for example, the mentally ill person in the village now, otherwise. It doesn't make any sense. Junior brother Dade, take your time, don't panic, I won't compete with you. Junior brother Yuking, come on, the sword of Heiran, is eye-opening. Is this the cultivation path? It's really extraordinary, you can easily absorb other people's cultivation. Long Xuanhuan walked through the field with his hands behind his back, almost like taking a walk. As he walked, he was still watching the battle. Even Wu Dade was blasted to his feet by Luo Tianling, but he just walked around and didn't care about Wu Dade. Senior brother Long, you are so heartless. Wu Dade cursed and opened his mouth while hurriedly adjusting his hip position to welcome a new round of terrifying attacks. He is a mountain village fisherman. Finally, someone saw Long Xuanhuan and recognized him. The fisherman from the mountain village, that's him. The fisherman from the mountain village who defeated the martial arts pavilion at the beginning is the person with the most profound attainments in martial arts in the north. They are the ones who follow the lineage of tomb keepers, the martial master technique must be in their hands. At this moment, tens of thousands of cultivators in the audience were all going crazy. Everyone was looking at Long Xuanhuan as if he were looking at a piece of cake. It can be said that in the eyes of the world, the fisherman in the mountain village is equivalent to a clue to Wu Zunfa in a sense. Catch him. Catch him and we're done. Superior. Suddenly, many masters swarmed in, vying to take action against Long Xuanhuan. But Long Xuanhuan was extremely calm. He was facing the siege of hundreds of people, but at this moment he didn't even raise his hands, he just used his eyes to scan the enemies. In an instant, these hundreds of people suddenly felt as if they were being pressed by Mount Tai, feeling an unprecedented pressure. No one could rush within 10 steps of him. The masters of the 3rd realm, the strong men of the 4th realm, and even the cultivators of the 5th realm were actually forced to kneel on the ground by his gaze. Long Xuanhuan said calmly, "Don't force me to take action. Because I am invincible. I am invincible." Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. How powerful is this? How could so many experts kneel on the ground with just a glance? Martial arts will, that is the terrifying and supreme martial arts will. Only the legendary martial master technique can temper this level of martial arts will. He has the martial master inheritance in him. Catch him. At any cost. At this moment, everyone was shocked and jealous. Why did you come here to fight? Isn't it just for the martial master's method that triggers the ultimate celestial phenomena? Now, finally, we have a clue. Young man, follow me to the Holy Land, and we will give you a bright future. Chen Ao, the leader of the Chen clan, moved directly at this moment. He walked towards Long Xuanhuan, his face was extremely hot, his eyes were determined, and he said, "Your martial arts will is very strong, but it has no effect on me. I also practice martial arts, and I possess a treasure that can resist the will of martial arts and advance your realm further. Otherwise, you can only follow me." He's about to take action. Haha, young man, what's the point of going with him? Come with me. Baiji, the saint of my holy land, will be your fiancé. Gao Yishan from the Holy Land is also approaching. Both of them are martial arts masters, both are extraordinary, and they believe that they have treasures that can resist the will of martial arts. Enough to take down Long Xuanhuan. However, Long Xuanhuan smiled slightly and said, "I don't want to fight you." Then he raised his eyes, looked somewhere in the sky, and said, "Senior Sister Xiling, have you finished the painting?" Hearing this, Gao Yishan and Chen Ao were both startled. They had a premonition of something and looked up suddenly. "I saw a girl somewhere, drawing something on a drawing board." Hearing this, Xiling nodded and said, "The painting is done, but I haven't started to learn figure painting yet. This is a landscape painting, well, but it should be enough to accommodate them." She put the final touch. Moment. Everyone in the field suddenly felt the transformation of space. The space they were in changed from a dead man's wasteland to a landscape of mountains and rivers. Inexplicable space. And the dead are left alone. All the major forces and tens of thousands of powerful people have disappeared. "Ah, Senior Sister Xiling, you have gone too far." Lu Rang suddenly said angrily. "I don't have enough grass yet." Wu Date also said, "Sister, you don't follow martial ethics." Even Zhang Li Nanfan was stunned and said, "Junior Sister Xiling, you acted too quickly. This has just begun." When Xiling heard this, she said, "Don't panic, everyone, you can come into my painting and fight. It's the same as fighting outside. This way, junior brother Long Xuanhuan doesn't need to participate." Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Xiling's painting can actually let them in? It should be noted that Xiling's paintings have always been painted enemies, and once they enter her paintings, they will become her painting slaves. And her paintings are also reproductions and imitations of reality. But now, the landscape painting painted by Xiling claims to be a world. It is obviously a piece of paper, but it is very vast, and it is more than enough to accommodate tens of thousands of people. Moreover, the world in the painting can also be interconnected with the outside world. Okay, let me in. Duguyu's pure meaning is still unfinished. Hurry, I can't wait any longer, it's itchy. Wu Date is looking forward to it. Xiling immediately waved her paintbrush. In an instant, in front of Nanfan, Qing Chen, Lu Rang, Zhang Li and others, some kind of intersecting roads appeared in space. Without hesitation, they jumped right into it. In the end, Subakian was the only one left in the field. She hesitated for a moment and said, "I won't go in. After everyone has beaten enough, I will sprinkle some medicine on Senior Sister Xiling's paintings and it should be enough to kill them all." Hearing this, Qing Chen Lurang and others became even more anxious and hurriedly started fighting in the world of the painting. It's too late in the battle, and once Subakian takes action, there's really nothing left to play. Off-screen, even Long Xuanhuan was a little embarrassed looking at Ziling and Subakian. He was lost in thought, and suddenly felt that what he just said, "I am invincible," was it too arrogant? And at this moment, outside the realm of Wuhuang, how's it going? Have the two of you found the martial master technique with the inheritance left in this world? On a huge warship, Wu Tiansong, a master of the Wu family, spoke to Chen Lin and Zhao Mingdong. Previously, my descendants said that they had found clues and sent troops. I will ask now. When Chen Lin spoke, he immediately took out a jade talisman and contacted the family. But, there was no reply. I can't contact them. Chen Lin was surprised. Me too, are they no longer in the ancestral realm? Zhao Mingdong was also surprised, it was as if he had seen a ghost. Wu Tiansong frowned slightly and said, "Come directly to this world." At the same time, somewhere in the void outside the Wuhuang world, a secret warship came secretly. The battleship is surrounded by dark secret texts, giving it a near invisible effect that can only be detected if it is very close. A young man in a golden brocade robe stood at the bow of the ship. He is the genius of the main pavilion of Genshi Pavilion, Jin Shishi. 10 corpses of 2 evil spirits are distributed in the 4 realms and 8 wastelands. The Wuhuang realm is the first to undergo mutations. It's a pity. If we can see Wu Zun's evil corpse in person, that would be a real great opportunity. According to the news from the main pavilion, the next one is most likely Yin Huang. Jin Shishi murmured and said, "You can't stay in this world for too long. Find Wu Zunfa quickly, and you have to go to Yin Huang. He has already made plans." "Sir," Mr. Jin Kishan sent back news that he has found clues to Wu Zunfa. At this time, an attendant next to him spoke respectfully. When Jin Shishi heard this, he was immediately overjoyed and said, "That's great." Then, he asked again, "By the way, have you found the black elixir and the yellow elixir liquid?" His face was full of expectations, because he took the 9-star elixir that Wuhuang realm sent back to the main pavilion, and the effect was very good. So along the way, he had been looking forward to finding something more in the martial world. When the attendant heard this, he was startled for a moment, his eyes were a little complicated, and he lowered his head and said, I didn't find that miraculous medicine." Hearing this, Jin Shishi was immediately disappointed and said, "It's a pity, I don't have a good reputation. Good night." Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xian. Chapter 815. The vast mountains and rivers are a world of their own. This is the place in the painting, where the mountains and rivers are ethereal and the scenery is transcendent. However, the war is going on. The sound of the south wind instrument kept playing, and her internal organs were moving with her 10 fingers. There seemed to be 5 tones in the 5 internal organs. Her 5 treasures are being discovered, becoming one with her soul and piano. Mountains and flowing waters among the 10 tones of eternity kept ringing, flowing in one go. Faced with the sound of her piano, Shanpo actually got into a panic. Does a mere bastard from all over the world want to kill me? Don't even think about it. Shanpo roared angrily, and her face suddenly turned into a huge chaotic lion face, gnawing at the south wind. This is the innate magical power she dug out from the 6 aggregates, and it can be called the most powerful skill. At the same time, behind Nanfan, a terrifying tiger face suddenly appeared. That tiger face, like the face of a lion, is very huge, formed by the power of chaos, and comes from an old man. That old man is the monkey from Beast Spirit Mountain. He also came, but he was hiding in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to attack Nanfan. But the south wind is accompanied by the sound of the piano. The mountains and rivers are looking for a close friend, and I will play for the seniors. The south wind is calm. Suddenly, as the sound of the piano came, she and Sirius disappeared from the scene. However, the magical beast faces of the monkey and the monkey are close to each other as if they have a tacit understanding. No. Shanpo felt something was wrong and shouted hurriedly. However, the two have collided violently. Boom. In an instant, the lion's face was destroyed and the tiger's face disappeared. The monkey and the monkey both vomited blood and flew out, hitting the mountains and rivers heavily. The south wind slowly pressed the strings. Her 5 internal organs have become mythical, and there are sounds of heaven resounding in them. At this moment, even though she doesn't have a piano, she can still make music. The sound of Wuzang. She murmured, awakening a magical power of her own. At the same time the other side. Stop sucking me. At this moment, Chen Dezi was simply scared. When he saw Lu Rang killing the green grass, he panicked. Since the war, he has become weaker and weaker, and his cultivation has continued to decline. But Lu Rang and Nacao became more and more vigorous. He already understood that the grass was so evil that it sucked away all his cultivation. Let me go, I really can't do it, brother Cao, give me a chance, I don't want to be squeezed dry. He knelt directly on the ground and cried. But Lu Rang, at this moment, was riding the green grass, his eyes full of excitement, and said, "Let you die in the green light." The great net of green blades of grass fell for the last time. Chen Dezi turned into a corpse. Lu Rang also entered the realm of 5 aggregates. Let me see what magical powers I have awakened. Lu Rang was very excited. He looked inside and found that there was a green hat in each of his 5 internal organs. Composed of mysterious and mysterious chaos power. Cuckold. Lu Rang's face was full of doubts. Does he have to wear this hat on his enemies when he fights in the future? He felt inexplicably that this seemed very hateful. Will he be beaten? It's over. Tailing sect, Buletin Wanchen stared at Long Xuanhuan, his eyes filled with rage. His black sword was actually covered with dense gaps. They were all cut out by Duguyuking's sword energy. He has discovered that the pen in Duguyuking's hand is very unnatural and may be some kind of unimaginable artifact. A sea of 10,000 swords, kill all enemies. Buletin Wanchen roared. All his internal organs glowed. Countless broadswords composed of chaotic energy were flying all over the sky, sweeping towards Duguyuking like a sea tide. At this moment, Duguyuking was very relaxed, smiled slightly, and said, "There are many swords, it's a pity that you can't block my sword." His pen dropped. At the same time, the original energy in the 5 internal organs surged out. The 5 origins of dirty energy turned into one word. Old. Lao is the first character in Wang Zizi's Huang Ting Jing. Lao Jun lived leisurely and wrote 7 words, explaining the body shape and the gods. Above is Huang Ting, below is Xuanhuan, and behind you is the Ming Gate in front of Yukui. As soon as the word came out, the sea of knives collapsed. Buletin Wanchen was cut into 5 pieces. Tell me, am I your father? On the other side, Qing Chen was shouting loudly at this moment, like a wake-up call. In front of him, Zhao Zhen, a strong man from the Holy Land, was going crazy at this moment. Because, throughout the battle, Qing Chen had been using debate Zen. Debating whether Qing Chen is his father. Emptiness is form, form is emptiness, if it is not, it is, if it is not. Moreover, this kind of debate is also mixed with terrifying spiritual effects, just like some degree of transformation. No. You are not my father. It's my dad, are you my dad? Zhao Zhen went crazy, his eyes were red, he knelt on the ground, hugged his head, and cried bitterly. And among King Chen's 5 internal organs, 5 words suddenly floated out. I am your father. These 5 words carry the sound of thunderous compassion. Like the voice of a loving father, like the voice of heaven. Zhao Zhen was directly conquered. He cried and shouted, "Father!" As soon as these words came out, he suddenly burst into tears. He has completely become the Tao that Qing Chen debates. When the Tao is fulfilled, people die. Hey, for the sake of my father, it's not a loss since the monk has saved you. Qing Chen patted his sleeves, not staining a trace of blood, and smiled slightly. The world in the painting, the words are the truth. Zinning was reading, and her thoughts triggered countless rules in the painting. In the area where she was, the landscape painting turned into a killing battlefield. The Sixth Army has no choice but to toss and turn to death. When you die, you know that everything is in vain, but the sorrow is not shared by all the 9 states. One man arrived with a letter, and the other 2 men died in battle. All my brothers are scattered, and I have no family to ask about life and death. Every time she spoke, someone died. Finally, she stood up, looked at the attacking Chen Ao, and said, "The earth collapsed and the mountains destroyed the strong men to death, and then the stone stacks of the ladder to the sky connected together. In an instant, the surrounding mountains and rivers surged, isolated peaks broke, the earth cracked, and rivers poured in." As for Chen Ao, he clearly saw that the little girl in front of him looked like she was studying in another world. There was original energy in her 5 internal organs forming a great symbol. Die. When death is imminent, he might as well resist. What the hell is your ass, why is it so hot? On the other side, Luo Tianling, the dean of the God of War Academy, looked at Wu Dade in shock. This fat man was simply terrifying. His butt was like a shield that surpassed all others. All his attacks were received by the opponent in an unimaginable butt position. Moreover, the fat man's ass got hotter and hotter the more he was spanked. It was as if there was divine fire in it. His slapping and impacting released the opponent's divine fire instead. Now, he doesn't dare to have sex at all. Damn it, where's the butt? It's like a soldering iron. Even he, a master of the 6th realm, can't hold back that kind of heat. Under your butt, suppress all enemies in the world. But at this moment, Wu Dade shouted loudly. He felt as if there was an inexplicable energy flowing between his 5 internal organs, leaking wildly down his intestines. He suddenly sat down towards Luo Tianling. "I'll fight you." Luo Tianling opened his mouth and shouted. However, before his fist could hit him, he suddenly heard a strange sound. Flutter. A stream of internal energy containing all kinds of flavors, mixed with flames, spurted out from between the fat man's buttocks. Ah! Luo Tianling's stomach suddenly spasmed. He twisted and fell to the ground, vomiting wildly. He just inhaled some of the fat man's 5 internal organs' source energy, but at this moment, he couldn't stop vomiting, and the flames mixed in it were burning his 5 internal organs. "I don't want to die." He struggled to speak, but then his internal organs failed and he died immediately. Wu Dade landed, with a trace of doubt on his face, and said, "Hey, why are you dead before I sit down? Brothers, are you enjoying yourself?" At this moment, Zhang Li suddenly smiled. In the painting, the grass and trees are used as soldiers, the black and white chess lines are drawn across the sky, and millions of magic soldiers are all over the sky, landing one after another at this moment. His handwriting can be said to be like spreading beans and forming soldiers. Seeing this scene, everyone in the audience immediately despaired. "How did you do that?" Millions of magic weapons appeared inexplicably. Using Dao to transform soldiers. Everything in the world, every plant and tree, has become his chess pieces and soldiers. The Holy Lord of the ultimate Holy Land, Gao Yishan, trembled and said, "Don't kill me. I'll give Baiji to you. She's great. You will be satisfied." However, the sky full of divine weapons has overwhelmed him. Senior brother is not a human being, don't blame me. But at this moment, Lin Zhuchen also spoke. He raised his hand, the light burst out, and his 5 internal organs harmonized with the entire world in the painting. In one of his 5 internal organs, his lungs, there is even the shadow of a hellish place. That is the terrain of heaven and earth that he refined in the underworld, the underworld. At this moment, the underworld shook the entire world, bringing doom to the entire world in the painting. Boom! The sky is falling apart. Now, outside the painting, the dead man is in front of the scene. Xiling and Subakian have been paying attention to the battle in the painting. At this moment, I saw that behind the rice paper, the original ink and blue landscape paintings suddenly disappeared and turned into large blanks. Then, the world in the painting disappeared. Some of the brothers also appeared in the real world. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 816. In the blink of an eye, everyone had walked out of the painting. They looked at the scene around them, feeling a little dazed for a moment. The world in the painting was destroyed, so we appeared in the real world again. Nanfeng murmured and said, "Can the world be created if one draws the Tao to the extreme?" Lin Zhuchen, on the other hand, was extremely solemn. His eyes were very solemn. He glanced at the world around him and said, "The world is like a scroll, the scroll becomes the world. Could the world we live in be just a painting? The world in Xiling's painting actually has the real source of heaven and earth, which made him feel a kind of terror." At this moment, Wu Dade was cursing and said, "Damn, they are all a bunch of inhumane people. In future fights, you are not allowed to take action. I have banned you." When he said this, Qing Chen, Lu Rang, Du Guyuqing and others all felt the same. Lin Zhuchen and Zhang Li have no solution. Once they take action, they will either kill everyone or directly destroy the world. In contrast, Qing Chen Lu made them all very strong in single combat, or like Nanfan, they had small-scale lethality, but they were not that abnormal. Not only the two of them, but also senior sister Xiling and junior sister Bai Jian should be banned. Each one is more cruel than the other. Du Guyuqing then spoke. When Subakian heard this, she said weakly, "But senior brother Dugu, I didn't even take action." She had no chance. When everyone heard this, they immediately lost their temper. Buddha. And at this moment, in the desert of dead people at the rear, a thunderous battle sound suddenly sounded. Who dares to come and cause trouble in the dead man's land? The Oath Keepers are here, but I want a fight. Nanfeng and the others turned around and saw the Oath Keepers and others coming to kill them with great momentum. Everyone is wearing strong armor and holding sharp weapons. These weapons, armors, etc. were all obtained from Genshi Pavilion. At first glance, although there are only about 3,000 people, they are all fully armed and very sharp. This, looking at the entire Wuhuang world, is definitely a powerful force. Master, where is the enemy? Where is it? Isn't it here yet? Wu Zhenhai came up with people and looked at Qing Chen and others. Qing Chen smiled slightly and said, "Enemies? They've all been saved. Have you finished reading them all?" Upon hearing this, Wu Zhenhai was stunned. He heard Wu Xiaokan say that the seemingly master of Qing Chen likes to describe killing people as salvation. Does this mean that they are all killed? No, how is this possible? You must know that those who came this time were all the major forces in the entire Wuhuang world, including even the two major Seventh Realm forces, the Chen clan and the Supreme Holy Land. Master, you mean, they are all gone? Wu Zhenhai asked in disbelief. Qing Chen nodded and said, "My teacher is compassionate, they all passed away peacefully." Wu Zhenhai. Long Zixuan turned towards Xiling and said, "By the way, senior sister Xiling, can the treasures on those people still be taken out from the painting? This time tens of thousands of people from various major forces came, and there was a lot of loot. If you take it out, it will be a huge resource for the Oath Keepers. Hearing this, Zi Ling said, well, it's okay. Although the world in the painting has disappeared, the void space remains, but the treasures, weapons, etc. can still be taken out of it. She waved her brush, and in an instant, countless rays of light suddenly emerged from the thin piece of rice paper. I saw source stones, weapons, armor, etc., falling out of it like a massive amount. In the blink of an eye, the place was already packed with people. Seeing this scene, the Oath Keepers and others were all extremely shocked. What's going on? These are weapons and treasures belonging to various major forces, how could they fall out of Miss Xiling's painting? Wu Zhenhai murmured and said. Could it be that they entered Miss Xiling's painting? He felt that this was beyond imagination. What a miracle! Wu Xiaoqan and Xian King Ai were also shocked. They had only seen Qing Chen, Long Zixuan, and others take action before. Only now do I know that their senior brothers, senior sisters, and junior sisters, each one is more terrifying than the other. Next to him, Han he couldn't help but swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Now, he is also sure that the coalition of major forces seems to have really been wiped out. Those are two major forces in the 7th realm, and many strong men in the 6th realm. He was killed by a dozen young people. If you tell me, who will believe you? The choice of the Pavilion Master is wise. At this moment, he was extremely lucky. The Pavilion Master is worthy of being the Pavilion Master, with this look and eyesight. For your information, the Chen clan and the Holy Land are just the forerunners. He hurriedly stepped forward and said. According to the information we have received from Genji Pavilion, the real enemy is the ancient immortal clan from the true ancestor realm, the Martial clan. This clan has the inheritance of Martial Lord and is extremely powerful in the true ancestor realm. When Dugu Yuking heard this, he said. Speaking directly, how many masters are here? Are they enough? Hearing this, Han he almost choked. These young people are too crazy. Do you dare to challenge the Changsheng ancient clan? What kind of existence is behind them? He couldn't help but said. I don't know the exact number of people. But they haven't reached Wuhuang realm yet. Now, they should be in the void outside Wuhuang realm. Dugu Yuking said directly. Lead the way. Now. In the vast void outside the Wuhuang world. Mr. Kitchen, until now, I still can't contact the clan. There was a trace of cold sweat on Chen Lin's face. The same is true over at the Holy Land. Even the blood connection between me and my descendants has been completely severed. Zhao Mingdong's face became even more ugly and he said. Sir, this means that they may be dead. Died. Hearing this, Wu Tiansong's face turned extremely cold. Haha, didn't you say that you are the strongest people to come out of this martial world in the post-White Mist era? Isn't the inheritance you left behind the strongest inheritance in the martial world? Now it is being destroyed quietly, it's ridiculous. He was very disdainful. But Zhao Mingdong and Chen Lin could only remain silent. They were once legends and peerless geniuses in the martial world, but now, they are just guests of the martial clan. It sounds nice to the guest, but in fact, they are just slaves who work hard for the Wu clan in order to obtain the 9 laws mastered by the Wu clan. Come here directly and take complete control of this world. No matter what, there is nothing that can stop our clan from obtaining the martial master technique. He spoke coldly. Immediately, this huge star battleship headed towards Wuhuang realm. Huh? No, what is that in front of you? The warship was approaching, but only a spaceship appeared in the Wuhuang world. It was a small warship, and compared with the starry sky warships of the Wu clan, it looked very shabby. The small warship was shaped like a fishing boat and had an arched cabin. The deck was deserted. What kind of ghost ship is this? Everyone was confused. However, at this moment, the sound of a piano suddenly sounded in the cabin. The sound of the piano sounded, and in the void ahead, countless terrifying beasts suddenly appeared. There is a heaven-defying true phoenix coming out of the fire, there is an ancient giant tree breaking through the sky, there is a terrifying true dragon scratching through the void. God, what is going on? In this world, there are actually these terrifying creatures from the Qianbei Mist era. Everyone was shocked. I saw the terrifying true phoenix, with flames all over the sky, attacking their battleship. No. I don't want to die. Spare my life. On the battleship, many masters of the Wu clan were screaming miserably at this moment. Among them, there are many masters in the 6th realm, and Zhao Mingdong and Chen Lin are both strong in the 7th realm. Wu Tiansong is even stronger than Chen Lin, and is definitely a real master. However, everyone was scared at this moment. Because everyone feels the heat of the eternal flames and the overwhelming power of the supreme true phoenix. Facing the legendary terrifying beast from the pre-White Mist era, everyone panicked. Many people knelt directly on the ground, their eyes trembling with fear. How is this possible? Aren't all these creatures already dead in the catastrophe in the former White Mist era? How could it appear in this life? Wu Tiansong was directly in despair at this moment. No need to fight. When this kind of thing comes out, the entire post-White Mist era will be rewritten. Even if the world sacrifice temple comes, I'm afraid it will be difficult to compete. So, he closed his eyes directly. Everyone, wait to die. But, then, the fierce flames swept across everyone's faces. A feeling of heat permeated the battleship, but there was no destruction as imagined. Ah! But then, there was a sound of music, like a knife, cutting through everyone. Immediately many people were killed. Wu Tiansong hurriedly opened his eyes, only to see that the terrifying real phoenix had disappeared. And before his eyes, waves of sound waves were coming. The real phoenix is just an illusion. This piano sound is the real killing move. Wu Tiansong reacted immediately and was terrified. The enemy was so cunning. He actually managed to steal the show with a terrifying illusion. The moment everyone lost their minds, the sound of the piano struck. Fortunately, the skill of this piano player is not that terrifying. Otherwise, in just this moment, everyone in their martial clan would have been dead before they had time to react. The enemy is very scary. He shouted hurriedly. Meet the enemy. And at this moment, the other side. A place in the void. Haha, Sister Ling long time no see. On the battleship of Genchi Pavilion, Jin Shishi looked at Yu Linglong, smiled slightly, with a hint of passion in his eyes, and said. Shishi misses Sister Linglong very much, I wonder if Sister misses me. The Yu family sisters are the most dazzling jewels in Genchi Pavilion. Who doesn't care? Moreover, if you can marry a sister from the Yu family, in a sense, you will have the right to inherit the chair left by the ancestor of the Yu family in Genchi Pavilion. However, a hint of ridicule flashed through Yu Linglong's beautiful eyes at this moment, saying. Do you miss me? I think you want to take that 9-star elixir, right? If you want to eat, I can find some for you later. Jin Shishi couldn't help but be overjoyed when he heard this. This Yu Linglong is not so cold. So enthusiastic. He would actually find a magical elixir for himself and take the initiative to please himself? Has hope. Of course. The more, the merrier. The last time I sent too little, I got addicted to it and ran out. Jin Shishi spoke happily. Next to him, Jin Kishan twitched his mouth when he heard this. He looked at Yu Linglong, and his eyes almost burst into flames. However, he did not dare to expose that matter for fear of destroying Jin Shishi's Taoist heart. Well, young master, Let's talk about our elixir later. According to intelligence, the Wu clan has now approached the Wuhuang world, and there seems to be some powerful existence in the Wuhuang world. There should be a battle. If we go now, we will gain a lot of benefits. Hearing this, Jin Shishi also nodded and said, "Let's go. Go quickly, get the martial master technique, and then look for the elixir." When Jin Kishin heard this, he was even more confused. Why are he still looking for the elixir? He really wanted to tell Jin Shishi the truth. Immediately, Genchi Pavilion's warship set off. Yu Linglong's eyes were extremely calm at the moment, but there was a hint of cold expectation deep in her eyes. Good night. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xin. Chapter 817. Now. In the vast void. A void was suddenly torn open by someone. In this void, an old man with a grey face walked out. His eyes were filled with grey mist, and his grey clothes seemed to have gone through countless years. And on his back was a long bow. The long bow was completely black, and it was unknown what kind of material it was made of. The bow has no arrows, and there are several small characters carved with silver hooks and iron paintings on the bow. Chaos Sun Bow. This bow is surprisingly one of the 10 legendary artifacts of the Guardian. This kind of artifact is actually in the hands of such an old man. The Wuhuang realm triggered the ultimate celestial phenomenon that day. As long as I get the martial arts method that can reach the heavens, I can bypass the 9 methods and walk towards the path of enlightenment. The old man murmured and said. At the beginning, Brother Yang of the Yang family and Brother Zhang of the Zhang family made an appointment to wait for us to go on the road together, and then we would sacrifice the world together and fulfill the old covenant. Unexpectedly, the young men in the temple of the world sacrifice tampered with the 9 methods, causing the 3 of us to go crazy on the road, and almost had our hearts swallowed by the origin of the grey mist. Brother Yang and Brother Zhang had no choice but to sacrifice themselves to the world, but they encountered something strange and ominous, and their entire family disappeared. He recalled events from many years ago. He was originally one of the 9 ancient immortal clans, a top master of the Wu clan, Wu Jianghe. In the past, there were 5 people from the Changsheng ancient clan who made an appointment to offer sacrifices to the world. Yang Daomei, the ultimate leader of the Yang family, Zhang Yunzheng, the ultimate leader of the Zhang family, as well as Wu Jianghe of the Wu family, Ji Wuden of the Ji family, and the eldest grandson of the eldest grandson Buledinmi. At that time, Wu Jianghe and others were only quasi-level experts. However, when they were on the road, they discovered that there was something wrong with the 9 methods they practiced, causing the 3 of them to almost go crazy. For many years, Wu Jianghe has been burying himself in the ice somewhere in the true ancestor realm, suppressing the source of the grey mist in his body. Until the evil corpse of Wu Zun was born, the ultimate celestial phenomenon appeared. Wu Jianghe was born, and he came in secret to find a martial arts method that could prove his way. Only in this way can he bypass the 9 methods and get rid of the crazy state. I can already feel the breath of martial arts. He murmured and immediately took a step towards the direction of Wuhuang realm. At this moment, the Wuhuang realm is outside the void. Meet the enemy. On the Wu clan warship, Tian Song roared. Immediately, many experts reacted. What just happened was just an illusion. How could there be such a real illusion in this world? I almost feel like I'm going to die under the flames of that true phoenix. Don't worry about it. There's something strange about that warship ahead. Attack with all your strength and kill it. The martial arts masters went out one after another. But there was still no one on the warship. The sound of the piano is played softly, the sword energy is vertical and horizontal, the black and white chess lines appear all over the sky, and the terrifying grass shadow sweeps over. The people in the cabin were taking action, and various paths gathered together, like forming a terrifying ocean. They are all at the 5 aggregate level, not strong. Kill. Destroy them all. Many masters of the 6 realms surrounded and killed him. However, those strong men in the 6th realm suddenly screamed in agony in the terrifying ocean of Taoism. Due to the sound of the piano, the shadow of Sirius roared, Gongshang Jiao Zhenjiao's 5-note magical power came to kill, and a strong man in the 6th realm was killed on the spot. What kind of stench is this? No. Another old man was inexplicably hit by a burst of qi from the 5 internal organs, and he immediately vomited. Moreover, divine fire burned his 5 internal organs, and he died of exhaustion. The awe-inspiring sword energy was so strong that it could not be controlled, and an old man was directly penetrated. These people are not ordinary people from the 5 realms at all. They can leapfrog and kill people. They are peerless geniuses. Wu Tianzong was shocked. He immediately took a step forward and said coldly, "It seems that there is indeed something weird in this world. It's a pity that no matter who you are, you will die." The terrifying cultivation level is released. That's 7 realms of perfection. The 7th realm is the Lingtai realm, where the qi of the 5 internal organs and 6 internal organs rises to the sky and opens up the knowledge of the Poseidon. At this point, he has become a true master. The consciousness-y divine treasure had been activated, so Wu Tianzong could tell at a glance that the people in the cabin were very scary. Although there are 5 realms of cultivation, this kind of Tao. Even in the true ancestor world, I have never seen it. On the contrary, it is very similar to some prehistoric legends. According to legend, the bones of 10 deities and 2 evil spirits buried in the 4 realms and 8 wildernesses each have their own ways. A mere 5-level expert actually made me feel like I was in danger of imminent death. Wu Tianzong murmured. Those who are strong in the Lingtai realm have terrifyingly strong spiritual senses. When encountering a life or death crisis, they will feel it in their hearts. At this moment, with this sense of fear, he suddenly understood that if he underestimated the enemy, he might die. "Please use the martial arts mirror," he shouted loudly. At this moment, in the cabin of the Wu clan, there was suddenly a ray of light rising into the sky. That light clearly contains countless martial arts imprints and rules. The clan actually brought the martial arts true self mirror. It seems that the clan is really determined to win the inheritance of martial master. Once the true self of martial arts is revealed, who can be my opponent? Even everyone in the Wu clan was shocked. The martial arts true self mirror is the most precious treasure of the martial clan. This treasure is related to Wuzun from the pre-White Mist era. On the day when the evil corpse of Wuzun was born and passed through the true ancestor realm, the martial arts true self mirror had a spirit and went to visit Wuzun on its own initiative, but later returned to the clan. This time, in order to ensure that the Tongtian martial arts was flawless, the Wu clan directly used this treasure. Moreover, what Wu Tianzong never told anyone else was, there were 2 great masters holding the battleship on top of the battleship. A strong man in the 8th realm. This time, their martial clan is fully prepared. As soon as the martial arts true self mirror came out, terrifying martial arts energy spread across Tianyu. All the strong men of the martial clan fell to their knees instantly. Even the Deifa river in the boat ahead disappeared. An ancient bronze mirror, modeled all over, exudes yellow copper light. At this moment, the light is like a rainbow, shooting directly towards the boat in front. This martial arts rainbow light is very terrifying. It comes from the martial arts true self mirror. Even a strong person in the 8th realm cannot withstand it. Wherever the rainbow light passed, the vacuum was annihilated, and the tyrannical martial arts aura suppressed everything. When I take action, I always like to get it right in one step. Wu Tiansong looked at the small boat in front of him with extremely cold contempt in his eyes and said, "You can't despise genius even if you despise anyone. This is an iron rule." Watching the martial arts rainbow fall, Wu Tiansong showed a proud smile on his lips. However, in the next moment, the rainbow light reached a distance of 3 feet above the boat, but it didn't move forward. It was as if there was something that shocked the world-destroying martial arts rainbow light. Huh? What's going on? Wu Tiansong was immediately confused. Could it be that there was any treasure in that cabin that could compete with the true self realm of martial arts? How can this be? Moreover, he glanced at the true self realm of martial arts in the sky, which seemed to be the true self realm. Trembling slightly. Could it be that the true self is actually afraid? This is even more outrageous. True self realm, please take action and kill all enemies. Wu Tiansong immediately shouted. However, his voice had just ended. Suddenly there was light in the true self mirror, which turned into a big hand, slapped Wu Tiansong on the face, and sent Wu Tiansong flying. Ah! Wu Tiansong flew thousands of meters upside down, vomiting blood at the mouth and twitching all over. His eyes were filled with fear and he said, "No. I'm useless. The palm of this martial arts true self's mirror spirit. Not only did it hurt him, it also directly destroyed all his cultivation." Everyone was shocked. What is going on? No. The martial arts true self mirror is out of control. At this moment, 2 old men appeared on the battleship. They were the secret masters of the 8th realm sent by the Wu clan. Wu Fenjian, Wu Fenhuan. Both of their expressions were extremely ugly. Has the martial arts true self awakened? No longer under their control. It should be noted that this situation rarely occurs. It only happened the last time Wu Zun's evil corpse entered the true ancestor realm. Now, it's out of control again. What happened? Could it be that the true self state is going to turn against the tide? Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 818. Everyone on the Wu clan warship was shocked. The martial arts true self mirror is the most precious treasure of the martial clan, and is related to the martial lord of the pre-white mist era. Now, this treasure is disobedient. Quickly, light the sacred incense and invite the mirror spirit to return to its place again. Wu Fenjian and Wu Fenhuan both spoke, and immediately they took out a handful of purple incense in their hands. Ignite immediately. The lavender smoke drifted towards the realm of true self in the sky. The sacred incense is specially made by the Wu clan. It contains the power of faith of countless creatures in the territory commanded by the Wu clan. It is of great benefit to the mirror spirits of the true self mirror of martial arts. This is also the reason why their martial arts clan can control the martial arts true self mirror. This incense can guide the martial arts mirror to return to its original position. The smoke curled up and drifted towards the true self mirror. However, the true self in the sky does not even look at the smoke containing the power of faith. It flew directly towards the small boat in front. In an instant, the ancient mirror landed on the boat, but it did not dare to approach the cabin. Instead, it stood on the bow of the boat, with the mirror body leaning forward slightly, as if bowing. Seeing this, everyone in the Wu clan was dumbfounded. What's going on? Martial arts true self mirror. Rebellion. This is impossible. And at this moment, inside the cabin of the boat, Xuanhuan sat calmly and saw the mirror on the bow of the ship. In a daze, he seemed to remember some things from that year. Before the war, I lived in a thatched cottage in front of an ancient road. You were the mirror in the thatched cottage. Xuanhuan murmured. This mirror, like a small stone, was only contaminated by Wu Zun's energy from his previous life when it was around that thatched cottage. So it became a magical weapon. Hearing this, the ancient mirror on the bow seemed to understand. The mirror leaned forward and swung up and down, as if it was nodding. Xuanhuan thought for a moment and said immediately, "We are destined to meet again after an eternity. Come in." Hearing this, the martial arts true self mirror suddenly became extremely excited and turned into a ray of light and flew in. He landed at Xuanhuan's feet, humble and quiet. The martial arts true self mirror, who was so arrogant just now, is just like a good boy now. And at this moment, the true mirror of martial arts must not make any mistakes. The two strong men of the Wu clan were both anxious and angry at the moment. The martial arts true self mirror is the treasure of the clan. If it is lost, it will be a loss that the entire clan cannot afford. Who in the cabin can return the true self? Otherwise, we will not stop until death. They threaten. The cultivation level of the 8th realm was also released immediately, overwhelming the surrounding void, which was very terrifying. "Bring it back to me." Wu Fengjiun suddenly stepped out with a single step, and behind him was thousands of chaotic auras. Gray mist and white mist mixed together like clouds. He was like a god who could turn the clouds and rain with just a raise of his hand. The terrifying power is unstoppable. However, at this moment, in the cabin, a terrifying energy suddenly flashed through. A faint bow shadow appeared. As the bow shadow appeared, a huge amount of chaotic energy surged toward the cabin in the endless void space, as if swallowed by a whale. 10,000 layers of chaotic energy condensed into a terrifying arrow between the bow shadows. The long bow has no string, and uses the chaotic energy of the heavens as arrows, and it shoots out suddenly at this moment. An arrow strikes and breaks the sky. What, this? When Wu Fengjiun saw this, he was immediately shocked. He was so horrified, as if he had seen a ghost, and said, "Chaos Sunbo." He subconsciously turned around and ran away. Because he knew the Chaos Sun shooting bow too well. That bow came from the pre-White Mist era and was extremely powerful. It was an artifact of the same level as the martial arts true self mirror. Even, this bow was originally an artifact controlled by their martial clan. However, later on, one of the strongest members of their martial clan betrayed the clan and took away the Chaos Sun shooting bow. Only the members of their martial clan knew about this matter. As for the Chaos Sun shooting bow, everyone knows that the most terrifying thing is that it can independently absorb the chaotic spiritual energy between heaven and earth and use the energy as an arrow. Now this bow uses chi as arrows. It must be the Chaos Sun shooting bow that has disappeared for many years. The Chaos Sun bow actually appeared. This means that the person in the cabin is the most powerful man who rebelled from the clan back then? If this is the case, I am afraid that only the supreme beings in the temple of sacrifice can suppress it. After all, although that strong man made a mistake when he was on the road, he was on the road anyway. A mere 8 realms are not qualified to appear in front of him. He panicked and ran away like a piss. Of course, the speed of the arrow was really too fast. Boom! The arrow penetrated the chaos spiritual power sea of the 8 realm strongman and blew him up. Turn into blood mist. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. Chaos Sunbo, is that Chaos Sunbo? Wu Fenghuan, another 8-level strongman, spoke tremblingly, looked at the boat in front of him, knelt down instantly, and begged. "Ancestor Zhang He, don't kill me. Spare my life." He also felt that in that small cabin, it must be the strong man from their martial clan. Wu Jianghe. The other party is actually not dead yet. The rest of Chenlin, Zhao Mingdong, and others also had pale faces. The Wu clan actually encountered such a terrifying person. However, there was no response from the boat. Just the chaotic spiritual energy that filled the sky gathered again, and the bow shadow reappeared on the boat. The spiritual energy turned into an arrow, and another arrow was shot. No. Wu Fengjuan's pupils widened. When this arrow came, the entire Wu clan's warship exploded. Like a dazzling firework. All the powerful people on the ship, 8th realm, 7th realm, all died. In an instant, no one was left. Outside Wuhuang realm, in the sky, there was a sudden silence. And at this moment, far away, somewhere in the void, here, on a warship. At this moment, everyone in Genshi Pavilion was stunned as they looked at the scene happening in front of them. How can this be? Jin Qixin murmured, his old eyes full of fear, and said. Wu Jianghe, one of the 9 tribes and 3 rebels in the past. He's not dead. Genshi Pavilion is one of the most mysterious forces in the true ancestor realm. It is well informed and knows many secrets. The 3 rebellions of the 9 clans, it is said that when Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng were sacrificed, there were 3 quasi-top-level strong men among the 9 tribes who were ready to follow them. Wu Jianghe of the Wu clan, Ji Wuden of the Ji clan, and Chang Sunbumi of the Chang Sun clan. Yu Linglong also murmured. But when these 3 people broke through to the top level, something went wrong, they fell into madness and betrayed the family. They were called the 9 tribes and 3 rebels by the world. It turns out that the person behind the mountain village fisherman is actually him. No wonder the mountain village fisherman is so powerful in martial arts. She seems to have understood something. 3 rebels of the Wu clan. But Jin Shishi was anxious and said. What should we do? Let the masters from the pavilion come and kill him. Hearing this, Jin Qixin said. No. Sir, this man was on the road back then. Although he was crazy, he finally entered the ultimate sequence. If you want to kill him, even if you are in the pavilion, your vitality will be severely damaged, and you will even get into the ultimate battle. Jin Shishi said. What should we do? Jin Qixin thought for a moment, then suddenly looked at Yu Linglong and said coldly. According to the chief's order, you must find Wu Zunfa. Now, you go back to Wuhuang realm and wait for an opportunity to seize it. If you can't get it, you will never have to return to the main pavilion. He was ready to give up here. After all, fighting against the 9 tribes and the 3 rebellions, the gains outweigh the losses. However, before leaving, he would not mind pushing Yu Linglong into this big pit. When Yu Linglong heard this, she said. Okay. I accepted. She seemed unusually calm. Shishi, let's go to Yinhuang. Jin Qixin spoke directly. Now, Wu Jianghe has appeared in the Wuhuang world, and they are unwilling to confront him head-on. Therefore, Yinhuang, who has already experienced strange aura fluctuations, is the most suitable. At the same time, in the void, somewhere. What kind of bow and arrow is that? An old man's face changed drastically. He felt that the black longbow on his back was actually trembling at this moment, as if he was surrendering to the shadow of the bow and arrow in the boat. No. Not good. The old man suddenly shouted loudly, and he felt that because the breath of the black longbow was fluctuating, the source of the grey mist in his body was also unstable. It's going to be chaos. At the same time, he felt an inexplicable panic, as if the artifact on the boat had sensed the origin of his grey mist and emitted a trace of hostility. The existence on the boat doesn't like the grey mist. Wu Jianghe's expression changed, he turned around and ran away. Worked overtime until now. Helpless and helpless. Everyone, go to sleep, Geixen is dead. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xian. Chapter 819. In the blink of an eye, everyone from the Wu clan was wiped out. It's such a pity that the monk couldn't save them with his own hands. On the boat, Qing Chen sighed, feeling quite sorry. I can see it, whenever we fight, we must first ban the 4 imbecile sisters Xiling, junior brother Zhang, junior brother Lin and junior sister Su. And the most important thing is that you can't use things brought from the village at will. Lu Rang spoke. Let's go back to Wuhuang realm. The south wind is opening its mouth. Now that the enemies are gone, it's time to go back. Immediately, the small boat slowly descended. Finally, he reappeared in the sky in the northern border of Wuhuang realm. Greetings to all my masters. Wu Xiaoqan and Wu Jinhai were waiting. When they saw their return, they stepped forward to salute. No need to be polite. How are you doing in Wuhuang realm? Long Zixuan asked. They went outside the realm to meet the enemy, while the Oath Keepers clan stayed in the Wuhuang realm. In the martial wasteland, all the major forces that went to the Dead Wasteland have been wiped out, and the Oath Keepers are responsible for cleaning up the subsequent results of the battle, including the treasure troves, resources, etc. of major forces. Master, the Northern Territory has been unified, and the God of War Academy, Tailing Sect, etc. have been completely wiped out. Now, Mingshan and the others are taking people to other regions. The unification of the martial world is just around the corner. Wu Jinhai spoke excitedly. This time, the Oath Keepers will lead the entire Wuhuang realm. Long Zixuan nodded and said. Okay. This mirror is given to you. He casually handed an ancient mirror to Wu Xiaoqan. Wu Xiaoqan looked at the ancient mirror and was shocked. This ancient mirror has a hidden momentum, Taoist charm is like water, and there is a vague aura that is shocking. This is definitely a treasure. What kind of precious mirror is this? Wu Jinhai murmured. Next to them, Han He, who was with them, stared straight-eyed and said in silence. Martial arts true self mirror. It can't be the real martial arts mirror, right? He was born in Genshi Pavilion and had a very sharp eyesight. He could see at once that this ancient mirror. It is exactly the same as the legendary martial arts mirror. However, the martial arts true self mirror is one of the 9 ancient immortal clans and the martial clan's treasure. How could it appear in the hands of the mountain village fishermen? The birth of the martial arts true self mirror is so shocking that who can compete with it? No. This must be a fake. He felt that this was the truth and the only way he could accept it. However, the aura of this ancient mirror is so extraordinary, and the imitation is so lifelike, it can definitely be regarded as a valuable treasure. The treasure mirror changes hands, which means, the people from the Wu clan were actually defeated by the village fishermen and the others. Even the valuable imitation treasure in his hand was taken away. Han He stepped forward cautiously and said, Excuse me, have you ever met my pavilion master? Before long Zixuan and others set off, he had secretly sent a message to the pavilion master Yu Linglong. At that time, Yu Linglong and the people in the main pavilion were waiting in the void. There was a big battle, and the fishermen from the mountain village were waiting to return safely, which meant that the main pavilion might also have been defeated. Pavilion master, will something happen? As soon as he finished speaking, a faint and beautiful voice sounded. I'm fine. Everyone turned around and saw a woman wearing a veil walking towards them. Astonishingly, it was Yu Linglong, the master of Genshi Pavilion in Wuhuang realm. She had a graceful figure and graceful steps. When she came closer, she gave a slight salute to Long Zixuan and others and said. Linglong has met you all. Long Zixuan nodded and said. We have taken note of the help the pavilion master gave to the Oath Keepers. Genshi Pavilion sent Han He to deliver news and various treasures. It was indeed a favor. Yu Linglong smiled slightly and said. Actually, Linglong is just gambling. To be honest with you, just now I and the people from the Genshi Pavilion's main pavilion were also in the void. If you are not strong enough, the master of the Genshi Pavilion will also take action against you. At that time, Linglong can only watch on the sidelines and will never dare to help. But now it seems that Linglong made the right bet. She was honest and told the truth directly. Because, behind Long Zixuan and others is Wu Jianghe, one of the 3 villains of the 9 tribes. The most taboo thing when dealing with this kind of existence is to be smart and play tricks and tricks. Only by being honest with each other can you win the trust of the other person. Hearing this, King Chen's eyes shone and he said, "It turns out there is another wave of people. Where are they now? Call them here quickly, let's exchange feelings." When Yu Linglong heard this, she was startled for a moment. These people, what a tiger and wolf talk. They also exchanged feelings, this is obviously not enough. She suddenly felt that in fact, they didn't care who came. The Wu clan and the Genchi pavilion, probably all looked the same in the eyes of the other party. Is this all just for fun? She was a little upset. After all, this means that my help to the other party is actually very little. She overestimated her role. However, she still took a deep breath. It didn't matter, this also proved that the other party was stronger than she thought. This is a good thing. Without thinking, she looked directly at Long Xuanhuan and others and said. The people in the main pavilion turned around and went to Yinhuang. There are strange aura fluctuations in Yinhuang. According to the news from the main pavilion, the inspectors have already gone there. In the Sound Wasteland, one of the 10 deities from the pre-White Mist era is also buried. Concise and concise. When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but be startled. Yinhuang, 10 of them. Is another evil corpse about to be born? Long Xuanhuan murmured. The 12 bets of eternity will be opened one after another. Zhang Li sighed, the overall situation has been changed. But Nanfan suddenly looked at Yu Linglong and said. Pavilion Master Yu, I'm very curious. You have no friendship with us, why can you tell us such secrets? This kind of news that affects the general trend of the world is absolutely top secret. Ordinary people cannot know. However, Yu Linglong said it directly without any hesitation. Obviously, he has a plan. When Yu Linglong heard this, she looked at Nanfan, hesitated for a moment, bowed, and said directly. Because, Linglong wants to hug her. She smiled, but there was a trace of deep bitterness and helplessness in her eyes. If she had a choice, she would never take the gamble. If Genchi Pavilion gives her a chance. If her sister had a better life in the pavilion. But unfortunately there is no if. She had no choice. Hearing this, Nanfan nodded thoughtfully and said. Pavilion Master Yu is very candid. Thank you, we will remember this favor. Hearing this, Yu Linglong's heart was immediately filled with gratitude. After saying that, Nanfan said. Junior brothers, let's go back to the village first. Even if you want to go to Yinhuang, you have to report it to Master first. Immediately, everyone left. Pavilion Master, what happened in the war outside the boundary? Watching everyone leave, Han He couldn't help but walk to Yu Linglong and said. Even the valuable imitation of the martial arts true self mirror was taken away by them. But Yu Linglong said. Imitation. You are wrong, that is the true mirror of martial arts. There was still a trace of unconcealable fluctuation in her beautiful eyes at this moment. The martial arts true self mirror of the Wu clan was actually taken away. If this spreads out, it will cause an uproar in the entire true ancestor world. What, the real martial arts mirror? Han He was dumbfounded. He subconsciously looked at Wu Xiaoqan and others on the other side. At this moment, Wu Xiaoqan was holding the martial arts true self mirror, seemingly unaware of what treasure he was holding. You actually stole the true martial arts true self mirror. Too strong. A treasure like the martial arts true self mirror is given directly to followers. How proud. It's inhumane. At this moment, Han He felt a deep envy and jealousy. The martial arts true self mirror is the most treasured treasure of the immortal ancient clan. But those young people just gave it away as if they were ordinary mirrors. He suddenly realized that the pavilion master was really wise. It's definitely worth it to have a good relationship with these people. Pavilion master, we still have a batch of Wu Yun Dan in the pavilion. How about giving it to them? He couldn't help but speak. That batch of Wuun Dan can create a dozen Wuun level experts. When Yu Linglong heard this, she was speechless and said, "Is there anything you haven't brought out yet? Send it immediately." Han he. Yu Linglong then murmured. Then reminded. The birth of Wuzun's evil corpse is the prelude to great changes in this life. The abyss once cut off by the one at the end of 10,000 paths will be filled up again. There are no unbroken eggs in the overturned nest. Who can escape from the Genshi Pavilion, the 9 ancient clans, the world's sacrifice temple? She looked in the direction Nanfan and others were leaving and said. Can Wu Jianghe, one of the 3 villains of the 9 tribes, hold up the sky? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 820. True Ancestor Realm, the Great Wall of the North. The Great Wall here is made of piles of corpses. There are huge demon bones, as thick as mountains, there are wing bones of strange spiritual birds hanging down in the bone city, there are sky-splitting bone knives, the edge of which is still sharp enough to cut through divine gold. It is said that this great wall of bones was left over from an ancient war. On top of the great wall of bones, there are many stone beacon towers. Although an endless great wall of bones has been formed here, any bone in this great wall is indestructible and cannot be carved. Therefore, when later generations built the Great Wall, they could not do anything with the originally piled bones. They could only use stones to add and fill in the bones on the basis of the Great Wall. Therefore, the Great Wall of Bones was formed, showing 2 weird styles. At this moment, there is a beacon tower. An old man in white robes stood here, looking ahead. In front of the Great Wall of Bones is an endless wilderness. In the wilderness, there are also mountains of corpses and bones piled up. Even if eons have passed, some remaining grey fog will still rise and overflow from those corpses, so the entire wilderness looks foggy and full of grey. And at the end of the grey field, there is pitch black. That pitch black is the legendary Tianyuan. A generation of martial lords, using their bones to subdue Tianyuan. The old man looked at Tianyuan for a long time before he said. Sprinkle paper money again for this world-honored one. He spoke. Behind him, there were 2 people wearing white cloaks. They were covered tightly, only a pair of eyes were exposed, and it was impossible to tell whether they were male or female. Both of them were carrying bamboo baskets, and inside the bamboo baskets were yellow paper money. They respectfully handed the bamboo basket filled with paper money to the old man. The old man suddenly knelt down towards Tianyuan. He grabbed handfuls of paper money and threw them into the wilderness ahead. What the world has respected, now withers away, crying out in sorrow. The world-honored one is immortal, and in future generations, there will still be people who will remember your achievements. The old man threw paper money and shouted loudly. His old voice sounded in the open field, like a wounded old wolf roaring. After a long, long time. The bamboo basket is empty. The old man just stood up at this moment. General, according to the Old Testament, only those who exist in the temple of sacrifice to the world, and when the sacrifice to the world is held, the great power of the world will purify those big figures who are stained with evil marks, and those big figures will fulfill their final mission, Bone Town Tianyuan. Behind the old man, a man in a white cloak spoke and said. But, according to the news, so far, only Yang Daomei and Zhang Yun's hung from back then have been sacrificed. Moreover, they failed, suffered strange events, and disappeared. But before Wuzun was born, there was no one in the world to offer sacrifices. Why? Is there an error in the Old Testament? He was confused. However, the old man he called a general shook his head and said. No. The old covenant was established by the one who is the end of all paths and cannot make mistakes. And she made the old covenant because, when she made the old covenant, she had no hope at all. Now Wuzun is born, and he is not an evil corpse. He has regained his clarity. This can only prove that there is a power comparable to the Old Testament in this world. Hearing this, the two men in white cloaks were shocked. Actually, is that so? Is this the big change in the ancient prophecy? They looked at each other. However, the old man shook his head and said, "I'm just guessing." After a pause, the old man continued. Wuzun's corpse has been put into the abyss. There is a high possibility that people on the other side of the Grey Mist Sea will try to enter the ancestral realm. We need to strengthen our defense recently. However, a person behind him said, "General, our people can no longer fill the beacon towers. In the past 10,000 years, the Guardian Organization and the Temple of Sacrifice have never sent us another soldier. We have no one available." The words were full of deep helplessness. When the old man heard this, a trace of sadness flashed in his eyes, and he murmured, "Tianyuan is the one at the end of 10,000 paths. With one strike of his sword, he separated the sea of grey mist from the ancestral world for eternity. However, that sword also cut off the source of chaos energy in the ancestral world. With each life's consumption, the source energy of the chaos ancestral realm will become increasingly scarce. It is impossible for the ancestral realm to remain in seclusion forever. That's why the one at the end of 10,000 paths left behind. She gave enough world to allow the ancestral world to grow. At the same time, as long as the ancestral world grows to the point where the world is on its way, the 12 strongest men will use their bones to refill the abyss and reopen the connection with the Sea of Grey Mist. She worked hard and prepared too much for future generations. But it's a pity that no one died. Now, even the Great Wall she left behind after killing all the enemies has no one to protect it." The old man felt an unprecedented heaviness. In the past eternity, among so many powerful people, only Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng died as promised. If the person at the end of 10,000 paths was still alive, would she be heartbroken? Defeated all enemies, but lost to human nature. The old man has a very high status on this desolate Great Wall, and he knows too many secrets. The source of chaos in the ancestral world seems endless, but it is limited. The true ancestor realm is like a pool of clear water protected by others. However, the water will disappear, evaporate, and if the sea is isolated, it will eventually dry up. And the one at the end of 10,000 paths has naturally considered this. She gave the ancestral world time to grow, finally sacrifice the world, and set off for the world. Only then will the ancestral world have a chance to survive in the entire Sea of Grey Mist. At that time, the corpses of the 12 most powerful men will fill the abyss, reopening the way to the Grey Mist Sea. Let this pool of clear water return to the sea. But, now an accident happened. The bones of Wuzun fill the abyss of the sky, but they have not achieved the goal of taking the world by storm. When the beings in the Sea of Grey Mist come to kill them, can the ancestral world stop them? Haven't those beings in the Temple of Sacrifice ever thought about it? The old man didn't know. He thought about it in his mind for a long time. The deserted beacon, raise the battle flag. From today on, we will be ready to face the enemy. After the old man finished speaking, he turned and left. The two people behind him wearing white mist cloaks looked at each other in confusion. "Brother Jiduan, do you think we can really stop him?" one of them whispered. The cloaked man named Jiduan shook his head and said, "Do your best and obey destiny." They also turned and left. After leaving, Jiduan entered a beacon tower alone. After confirming that no one was around, he suddenly took out a piece of jade. In Yaju, light flashed. A strange rune lit up. There is also a secret phrase. Paint runes with blood to attract things from the Sea of Grey Mist. Jiduan heard this, thought for a moment, and glanced at the large flag enshrined in the beacon tower. After that big flag is erected, it will form a large formation with other flags on the beacon tower to resist everything in the grey fog sea. Immediately, he heard the sound of the horn coming from the beacon tower in the distance. It's time for him to raise his flag. However, he did not move at all. Instead, he suddenly bit his hand and drew a rune according to the instructions on the jade. Now, within the vast abyss of heaven. This abyss of heaven is filled with deathly silence and darkness, and there is nothing else. No matter what it is, whether it is an object or a living being, if it steps into the abyss, it will be turned into nothingness by the endless power and erased from this world. Even the source of chaos cannot enter this abyss. But at this moment, there was a corpse sinking here. In the darkness, the corpse gave off some kind of white mist, and it was vaguely visible that it was a majestic man. In the darkness, the body split apart silently, turned into a lot of light rain. It filled the dark void, and finally formed a faint bridge of light. The light bridge runs through both sides of the Xuanhuan. On one side is the bone wasteland of the true ancestor realm. On the other side, there is a foggy world. At this moment, in that foggy world, a scarlet eye lit up, and suddenly there was a whisper. I vaguely feel the breath of that world. Haha, Tianyuan has blocked us for eternity. Now, is it finally going to reopen? A grey claw suddenly stretched out towards the abyss. The terror was overwhelming and the grey fog filled the sky, as if the world was about to be destroyed. But the moment that claw touched the abyss, some inexplicable power was unleashed. Ah! With a shrill scream, the huge grey claw was shattered. There is indeed a weak connection. But the real bridge is far from being built. Other scarlet eyes lit up and said, we still have to wait. Hearing this, the foggy world fell silent. Huh? No, I feel the blood talisman. Is someone trying to contact us? There are whispers of presence. Haha, this person who activated the blood talisman is actually asking us for the enlightenment method of the grey mist road. This existence sneers. Could it be that the Forbidden Lord's plan was successful? Did the stupid ultimates in that world really give up on that woman's 9 methods? If so, God help me. These beings with scarlet eyes are ecstatic. Send it to them, as the former Forbidden Master said. Haha, give them the Dharma, if they really practice it, we won't have to waste so much effort. This world will collapse on its own. There is an opening. And at this moment, on the Great Wall in the north of the true ancestor realm, there is a beacon tower. Jiduan's head was covered in cold sweat. He tried his best to maintain the blood talisman. Suddenly, among the blood talismans, cryptic figures flashed one after another. Seeing this, Jiduan was overjoyed. Have you really contacted the existence on the other side of the grey mist sea? Haha, it seems that Wu Zun's corpse has really made the true ancestor realm have a weak connection with the grey mist sea. Jiduan hurriedly took out a crystal and recorded the cryptic images. About half an hour passed. The blood talisman finally disappeared. These secret texts are what the ancestor wants. Jiduan murmured. The first ancestor of their Ji family was also in the temple of sacrifice to the world. He did this exactly according to the order of the ancestor. He stood up and erected the flag in the beacon tower. Then, the recording crystal was secretly transmitted. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 821. In the northern border of the true ancestor realm, the mist rises from the white bone plains. In the grey mist, it was like a wild ghost was sobbing softly. On the great wall of bones, there are many flags, and the formation has been activated. Between the chilling heaven and earth, this great wall seemed to divide the world into two. On one side is a deserted and desperate situation, but on the other side is the brightly lit true ancestor realm. At this moment, in a beacon tower, Xuanhuan had sent the recording crystal to their ancestor through the top-secret teleportation array. The ancestors will prove the truth as soon as possible, so that our G clan can become the upstart among the grey mist creatures when the grey mist sea comes. Xuanhuan murmured, with a blazing light in his eyes. And at this moment, true ancestor realm, sacrifice to the world divine state. Above the divine state of sacrifice, there is a vast secret place in the sky. In an ancient bronze temple that stands in ancient times. An old man in grey robes opened his eyes faintly at this moment. The great wall of bones has delivered a recording crystal. An old voice sounded. Suddenly, many terrifying auras appeared in the giant bronze palace. The main hall was very empty, with only many bronze divine thrones standing. At this moment, those ultimate beings came from nowhere and appeared directly on the divine thrones one by one. Brother Wulu, is there news from the Great Wall of Bones? Did you contact the Grey Mist Sea? An old man's hoarse voice sounded, his eyes filled with excitement and enthusiasm. This old man is surprisingly the ultimate person who tested Wuzun before when Wuzun came to the temple, Ningtianji. Not only Ningtianji, but also the several ultimates who appeared at this moment were all looking at the old man in grey robes. The old man in grey robe is one of the 9 ancient immortal clans, the ancestor of the Ji family, Ji Wulu. Ji Wulu said calmly. Good. He waved his hand, and a crystal suddenly appeared in front of everyone. In the crystal, secret symbols appeared one by one. Seeing these symbols, all the ultimates in the temple had extremely solemn eyes. This is the ultimate secret text. Only the ultimate can decipher it, the other party wrote it for us to read. Someone spoke. As those secret texts continued to be interpreted, everyone couldn't help but get excited. In this secret text, is there a piece of inner thoughts? The method of enlightenment that belongs to the path of grey mist. They have already seen that what is described in this secret text is about the road to grey fog and the supreme secret about the enlightenment. For a moment, there was silence in the ancient palace, and all the ultimate masters were quietly thinking about it with their hearts. Soon, the light in the recording crystal disappeared, and the secret chapter of the grey fog was completed. This secret story is called Blood Rushes into the Sea of Mist. Ningtianji finally spoke and said, the blood of living creatures contains the purest power in the world. With enough blood, you can break through the ancient fog of chaos that permeates the road and see the ultimate. I want to, give it a try. He spoke directly. Last time, he was the ultimate person in this life, but in front of Wuzun, he was as humble as an ant, which made him feel a sense of crisis. Must be enlightened as soon as possible. Don't be so anxious to believe things in the sea of grey mist. Ji Wulu, however, spoke calmly and said, there seems to be no problem with this method, but who knows if those weird creatures are harming us. When he said this, everyone nodded. Those who can reach the end are all real human beings, so naturally it is impossible to truly believe it. Ji Wulu said, this method must be verified before we can try it. Ningtianji said, if you want to verify this method, it's not difficult. Take out some ancient chaotic fog from the interior of our ancient road, and then wash it away with the blood of billions of creatures. Whether it works or not, you can tell at a glance. His words were indifferent. To him, the life and death of billions of beings seemed like an insignificant matter. So, has it passed? At this moment, in the ancient bronze palace, another ultimate man opened his mouth. He was dressed in black robes, his voice was deep and powerful, and his face was not old, he only looked middle-aged. Haha, brother Chang Sun, you are so kind to a woman. Ningtianji spoke directly and said. Don't forget, as the connection with the grey mist sea is reopened, all the creatures in the true ancestor realm, are going to die. Now, sacrifice some of our people so that we can achieve enlightenment, build up several of our great clans, and preserve some fire for the ancestral world. This is the wisest approach. The middle-aged man, named Changsun Changqing, heard this and wanted to refute, but Ning Tianji had already said coldly. Brother Zhang Sun, there is no turning back for you. Back then, you personally tampered with the eldest grandson of your eldest grandson clan, Buletin Mi, and you went crazy when you let him go. Since you don't have the courage to sacrifice the whole world, why bother with these low-level emotions anymore? Changsun Changqing was completely silent when he heard this. Yes, back then, it was he, as the ancestor of the eldest grandson clan, who personally cut off the path for the eldest grandson of the clan to be immortal. Because Changsun Immortal actually tried to fulfill the old covenant. Sacrifice the world. The existences in the temple of sacrifice cannot stop Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng who have successfully set out on the road, but they can take action against the powerful ones who are on the way, such as Changsun Bumi. They took action against the 9 laws. There is no need to mention what happened back then. When Ning Tianji mentioned what happened back then, a hint of displeasure flashed across Ji Wulu's brows. Because, for him, that was also a disgraceful past. Back then, his clan brother Ji Wuden was also one of the top-notch strongmen who wanted to take the road of sacrificing the world. He also personally ruined Ji Wuden's future. Then where should I choose to test this method? Ning Tianji then spoke. Once selected, it means that all the creatures in that realm are almost dead. Well, haven't the people who visited the Forbidden City already gone to Yinhuang? Let them do the verification. It will also test their sincerity. Ji Wulu spoke calmly and said. It just so happens that Yinhuang's evil corpse is about to be born. When the time comes, that evil corpse will take the blame, and it will be said that she destroyed the entire Yinhuang. Everyone nodded. And at this moment, Martial Wilderness World. A small mountain village in the desert of the dead. The weather is getting colder and colder, and the small mountain villages are also dyed with autumn colors. At this moment, Li Fan and Xiaobai were walking in the ginkgo forest at the head of the village with Yun 11. The ginkgo tree is dyed with autumn colors, and the golden leaves fall with the wind, spreading all over the ground. There is a layer of intoxicating beauty in the desolation. When Bai Xiaoqing saw this scene, her eyes were filled with love. Meow meow, so beautiful. She jumped out of Li Fan's arms and ran to the ginkgo leaves that had accumulated many layers, rolling and playing. The big devil, so beautiful. Yongzi also ran into the ginkgo forest excitedly. She was pleasantly surprised by the beauty of autumn and danced gracefully. Ginkgo leaves fell from her side, the white skirt danced, and the yellow leaves flew. Li Fan also smiled and said with the same interest. Gong Ya, bring me the drawing board. Gong Ya followed behind and took out the drawing board at this moment. Li Fan immediately picked up his pen and painted the scene at this moment gracefully with fine brushwork. Li Fan writes like a god, using his pen in a very simple way, but he still outlines the most beautiful scene at this moment. Yongzi finally finished dancing. She picked up a lot of ginkgo fruits in a bamboo basket and walked over. When she saw Li Fan's painting, her big eyes, like autumn water, glowed with surprise. The cloud stream in the painting dances in the rich autumn colors with its most beautiful figure, which is intoxicating. In the painting, there is also a little white cat rolling among the leaves. So beautiful. Yongzi wrote. But the big devil, you are not in the painting. Li Fan couldn't help but smile and said. Fool, I am the one who paints. Of course I am not in the painting. The painting is in my eyes, but I am not in the painting. When Yun 11 heard this, a trace of confusion flashed in her beautiful big eyes. She seemed to be aware of it, but in the end she didn't think much about it and said. Look, I picked up a lot of ginkgo fruits. Li Fan said. Okay, that's enough. We can make ginkgo glutinous rice balls for dinner tonight. When they heard about the food, even Bai Xiaoqing came over with a ginkgo fruit in her mouth and rubbed against Li Fan, which meant that she wanted to eat it too. Let's go. Li Fan and the others immediately returned to the small courtyard. Master. Just before arriving at the small courtyard, a call came, and Nanfan and the others had also returned. Today I took my compass and ran around for a day looking for a place in the mountains to read Feng Shui. Sorry for the late update, I'm writing the second chapter.